we're going to move accordingly. If you are a defendant who's appearing on Zoom or in the courtroom, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything that you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, the Public Defender's Office could be representing you. Ms. Tumlin, you're here with your client, Keaton Cambroni.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Right. And I have the plea paperwork, so just give me, just hold one moment and I will be with the both of you very shortly.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Let's see, petition number 1, Tori Catazzoni, based on the sidebar that the court has had with defense counsel, Ms. Catrice Helen and Assistant Prosecutor, Ms. Jordan Reiser. This case is going to be reset to the to a final plea calendar. And
you want to answer that?
I'm going to reset it to the October 19th motions calendar. Okay, it's at 9 a.m. All right, and Miss Helen, you're going to submit the paperwork, or you're going to? She's going to do it.
Your Honor, we're actually going to go through a MH evaluation, and from that, we'll see where we can take this case, Your Honor.
All right, that should give you enough time if you submit the paperwork today. Is she going to do it independently, or she's going to do it through the court?
Through our office, I'm going to get one of our social workers to contact her. I believe it may be a phone conference, Your Honor.
Okay. Try to get that, get the paperwork to me by noon tomorrow.
Understood, Judge.
Okay, so Ms. Catazzoni, is she present? All right. Are you the defendant or the parent?
Defendant.
Okay. Your attorney is going to speak to you. You'll be needing to submit to a particular kind of evaluation. It has to be signed off and completed before October 19th.
Okay.
You're expected back in court on October 19th, and then we'll see how we move forward with the case. All right?
Thank you very much.
All right, you're free to go.
Thank you.
See if your attorney will release you. Nakenya Cruz,
Thank you, Judge.
all right? Ms. Cruz, who's your attorney?
I don't think I have one.
You don't think? Have you spoken to an attorney?
Well, I had a virtual court last month. I think I was representing myself. I'm not sure. I had to submit some information to Miss Angela Waldrop. That's all I know. But as far as I know, I was representing myself.
So you are representing yourself?
I think so. Yes, ma'am.
Don't say you think so. Yes or no? Okay. And you understand that I've got paperwork here indicating that you plan to plead guilty to the charge addressed against you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So if you have a seat in the first row of the benches, I will be addressing your case shortly. And then Princess Weeklis.
I think that one was closed last week.
Oh, this case took a plea a week ago. Okay.
Yes, that's correct, Judge.
All right. Are there any other cases besides Mr. Cambroni that I have to address? No? Okay, that was it. That's the calendar.
I want to make sure this defendant waiver. Okay, I'm Garrett for this.
Okay, and she just needs to fill out, we can cross out this part, because this part's not necessary. All I need. She just needs. Okay. Thank you. And can we fill out the top and top? Thank you. All right, Ms. Tumlin, if you, and Mr. Cambroni, if you could please unmute. We have Prosecutor Ms. Jordan Reiser, who's in the courtroom. Can you see and hear her clearly?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so this is State versus Cambroni Keaton, Keaton Cambroni, accusation number 19D DF 000143G. This case was on our bench trial calendar, but now Mr. Cambroni, through counsel, are going to move forward with a plea hearing today. Mr. Cambroni, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and your counsel, Ms. Ashley Tumlin, will be representing you and speaking on your behalf. May I place you under oath for purposes of the plea? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, the original case with regards to Mr. Cambroni was one in which he was charged with speeding, operating a vehicle with an expired or unregistered, expired tag or unregistered vehicle, reckless driving, driving under the influence of alcohol less safe, failure to change address name on a driver's license, and the sixth charge was a DUI, driving under the influence of alcohol per se. It appears that the state is prepared to null pros 5 of the charges, leaving behind one remaining charge of reckless driving. Would that be correct, Ms. Reiser?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, so Ms. Tumlin, your client will only be addressing one count of reckless driving. And Ms. Reiser, what are the terms, please?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommended sentence is 12 months on probation, a $500 fine, 40 hours of community service, an alcohol drug evaluation, and any treatment if deemed necessary, 1 risk reduction, and 1 victim impact panel.
You may have said it, but was there the 40 hours community services?
Yes, Your Honor, it was.
And is this a continuing probation, or may he be non-reporting after completion?
The state has no objection to non-reporting after completion of the conditions.
All right, thank you. Ms. Tumlin, are those the terms to which your client has agreed? And do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID for one count of reckless driving?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Cambroni, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
Yes, I have.
And after, what did you consume, medicine or alcohol?
Alcohol, Your Honor.
And when did you do that?
This last weekend.
All right. Well, in the last 24 hours, have you consumed alcohol?
No, Your Honor.
All right. And are you able to understand the proceedings so far?
Yes.
And have you and your attorney had a chance to go over the plea sheet and the information therein?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the services?
I am. Thank you.
Is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take the plea today?
No, Your Honor.
And has it been explained to you that in entering such a plea, that this case would then be closed and you will be placed on probation? You will have to give up your opportunity to go back to court, to have a trial in front of a judge or a jury, to be able to have the assistance of counsel to challenge the state's evidence, to examine witnesses or cross-examine witnesses, present your own defenses if you choose to do so, and confront your accuser, and also give up your right to have the prosecutor carry its burden of proof with regards to the 6 charges brought against you. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right, and you understand that by pleading guilty to one count of reckless driving, that will add points to your driving record.
I understand, Judge. Thank you.
All right, and in that case, how do you plead to one count of reckless driving?
Guilty, Your Honor.
All right, I'll accept your guilty plea. Your sentence is 12 months probation, during which time you will pay a $500 fine plus court costs or any surcharges. Complete 40 hours of voluntary community service at any nonprofit agency. Submit yourself to an alcohol and drug evaluation with a qualified healthcare provider, and submit yourself to any treatment that is recommended by the evaluator. You would also need to do a risk reduction class and attend and complete 1 victim impact panel. The program will be offered by your probation officer. You will report to probation next Thursday before 3 p.m. And the probation office is located at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. Once you report to probation, you will continue to report monthly, and once you've completed all the conditions, then your probation will be non-reporting. In other words, you won't have to go to probation, but technically you're still on probation. All right, Ms. Tumlin, any questions?
No, Your Honor. And he is to report by Thursday or on Thursday?
On Thursday. They do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, but since this is today's Thursday, right? So, okay. So I try to give it 1 week out.
Okay, great.
But do it before 3 p.m. because they would be processing other clients in the meantime.
Okay, great, Your Honor. I just wanted to clarify that point.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor, that's all.
All right, that concludes this case, and I've entered a null pros with regard to the other matters. And I don't know if you filled out a form for the probation officer. Younger is going, Miss Smith, excuse me, is going to be sending, Miss Younger is going to be sending you an email with the probation questionnaire. You can forward that questionnaire to Mr. Cambroni as well, and it will have the probation office address and so forth on the letterhead. And just write down the date, July 27th before 3 p.m.
Great. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, y'all take care then. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I please be excused?
Yes, you may. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Cruz, we ready? All right, if you could come and stand by that podium right there, please. All right, this is position number 2 on our calendar this afternoon, State versus Nakenya Cruz, 19 CR 007666, in which Ms. Cruz was accused of simple battery from an August 26, 2019 incident. Ms. Cruz is present in the courtroom and she is appearing self-represented. Ms. Cruz, you have a right to remain silent about the facts of the case. Anything you just choose to discuss about the facts, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, but based on what you've told me and as you're appearing today, you've chosen to represent yourself. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And the court handed you a form. It's called the defendant's waiver of counsel. Did you get to read it?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
All right. And so you understand that any legal decision you make, you'll be responsible on how it impacts your personal situation and how it impacts how we move forward with your case. Do you
Okay.
understand?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right. So it's very important you listen to the questions, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is going to be a plea hearing where Ms. Reiser, who's the prosecutor, is going to give me the recommendation for a sentence if you decide to plead guilty. You and she have hopefully discussed the matter and she has explained to you what she plans to recommend. And from what I gather, it appears that you may be accepting that. So we'll find that out as we move forward.
Yes, ma'am.
For purposes of the plea, may I place you under oath?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So this is one count of simple battery, and Ms. Reiser, what's the state's recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation as to, simple battery would be 12 months of probation, 8 anger management classes, no further contact with the named victim, Ms. Taylor, and stay away from 456 Forest Ridge Drive, Your Honor.
Is that in Atlanta?
Yes, it is, Your Honor. It is Atlanta. And the state, Your Honor, doesn't have any objection to non-reporting after conditions or the anger management is completed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Cruz, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
All right. And do you agree that the factual basis of this case, in other words, the alleged facts supporting this charge, are true and correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you agree that this alleged incident occurred in Fulton County, Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
And that the accused in this particular case is in fact you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Also, has anybody forced you or induced you to take this plea offer today?
No, ma'am.
And has it been explained, and you've read the plea paperwork?
I did.
When you decide to plead guilty to this charge, this will close out your right to go back to court and have a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You will not be able to face your accuser. You will not be able to confront and examine witnesses. You cannot challenge state's evidence brought against you. You will not have a right to appeal this decision after this case is closed, and you will not have the opportunity to have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of simple battery?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months probation, during which time you will complete 8 anger management classes.
Yes, ma'am.
These classes are weekly, all right? And while you're on probation, you are to have no contact with Chevion Taylor and stay away from 456 Forest Ridge Drive in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
If I complete that, well, you said they're weekly, so is that by choice weekly?
These schools offer, once you enroll, they're every week.
Okay.
So you need to make sure you get that.
Now, I was wondering if I finished the anger management classes earlier than the 6 months, will they end the probation?
Well, that's why I was going to get to that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So every time that you report to probation, you're going to incur probation fees. All right. And so I recommend that you get started on the anger management classes as soon as possible. Finish those 8-week anger management classes. And then after that, your probation will be non-reporting, which means that you won't have to report after that, but you are technically still on probation. So you still have to have no contact with Taylor and stay away from that location.
Absolutely.
So does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay. You will report to the probation office next Thursday. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Office is located at 132 Mitchell Street.
Can I write that down?
You can write that.
It's right here. You can have it. That's your probation form.
You filled out that form already, right there?
I did.
Okay, you can have that copy,
Thank you.
and right at the top is the probation
Yes.
office, and you can write down this time and date, July 27th, which is a Thursday, before 3 p.m. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you go there on that date before 3 p.m. and you start with the process you for probation, and that will jumpstart you. And then, like I said, the sooner you're done with the anger management classes, the sooner you'll be non-reporting, and that save you a bundle on having to report to probation every month.
Okay. Thank
Anything
you.
else?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Best of luck.
Yes, ma'am.
That office is actually located.
Okay, that
Mitchell
concludes
Street.
this case. Ms. Rice,
Okay.
anything else?
Okay.
No, not on this matter, Judge.
All right, then the calendar is concluded. Thank you.